can't win this. I'm going to give you one chance here. Surrender.
Doom does not surrender.
Throughout the Marvel Universe, there is a single name that continues to echo through time, and that name is Doom. Dr. Doom is the best made Marvel villain, who is much more complex than any other villain, which is why he is constantly brought back for multimedia stories and appearances all over the Marvel Universe. I know what you're thinking. Not another Dr. Doom video glorifying him. Yes, that's exactly what this is. And you clicked on it, so let's continue.
What are we gonna call this guy?
Dr. Octopus.
That's crap.
Science Squid?
Crap.
Doctor Strange.
That's pretty good. But it's taken.
Victor, please.
Call me Doom.
So who's this Dr. Doom?
Your standard archenemy. Victor Von Doom's been obsessed with Reed for years. Always trying to prove he's smarter. Or trying to take over the world. You know, the usual.
Victor Von Doom was born in Latveria to a family of gypsies. Ever since he was in his mother's womb, Victor knew he was destined for great things. Yes, you did hear that correctly. The gypsy group that Victor was born into were oppressed and hunted by the Latvian dictator known as the Baron, which would lead to Von Doom's mother, Cynthia, a practicing witch, making a deal with Mephisto for the power she needed to destroy her enemies, and out of desperation to protect her people and her son's future. Inevitably, this plan backfired and Cynthia Von Doom was killed, damning her soul. Being affected by his mother's death, the oppression of his people, and the murder of his father by the Baron's actions, Victor began practicing sorcery and increasing his knowledge of every field of science, revealing himself to be a prodigy in both science and magic. Eventually, Victor would become the infamous Doom in his quest to gain power and take his revenge for his family and his wounded pride. He would prove successful in liberating his country from the Baron, defeating Mephisto at his own game, and freeing his mother's soul. But one thing remained for Doom to overcome, and that was his wounded pride at the hands of his arch-nemesis, Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four.
What is it with you and Dr. Doom anyway?
Unable to defeat Richards in any form, Doom would resort to more unconventional means until he could successfully get a win over Richards.
The big bad Dr. Doom kidnapping me just to lure us here to your wretched little island.
Yes, I'm so sorry to involve you in the time-worn damsel in distress cliché, Mrs. Richards. I fear the only thing missing is the onrushing train. However, sometimes expediency outweighs originality.
Dr. Doom has always been one of my favorite comic book villains because he always rises above the cliché bad guy. He has this nobility, this nuance, he has a mission, and there are his standards where he's not willing to go fully evil, but he's still maintaining somewhat self-control. Throughout this series, before Doom is even revealed, he is spoken of as if he is an ominous force by his underlings and even by Iron Man himself.
Give your master a message for me. Buyer beware. You steal my tech, you answer to me. Even him.
Pepper, guess who I ticked off this morning? Here's a hint. His name rhymes with boom.
Tony, something's happened at the SHIELD helicarrier. Some kind of explosion.
I warned your boss not to mess with me, lady. And now...
The Earth's Mightiest Heroes version of Dr. Doom is the best Doom ever put on film and television because he emulates everything I love about the comic book character, for three main reasons that soar higher than all the others. 1, he commands respect. 2, he is not petty, he always has a calculated reason for what he does. And 3, he is not evil for evil's sake, but he truly believes he is the hero of this story. He commands respect through his arsenal of powers and technology, but also through his demeanor and presence. Never once does he have to raise his voice to correct people or order anyone, or just to be the center of attention.
Did a plane destroy any ship that comes near the planet?
I enjoy this character trait in Dr. Doom because people with true power don't need to raise their voices.
Dr. Doom, right? You want to apologize to us before you get beaten up or after? Jan, I don't think I've forgotten about you, robot girl. I mean, seriously, do you really think you're gonna walk away from this? You think you're the only wannabe world ruler we've taken down?
2 hours later.
What, you're too good to talk to me? How does that bad guys that—
Miss Van Dyne, I am not some common criminal that can be distracted by your prattling. You are nothing to Doom, and your pathetic attempts to play mind games with me amount to exactly less than nothing. So please, stop embarrassing yourself.
Okay.
When the Wasp mocks him, he could have easily devolved into a childish, ranting villain like so many others, but instead he remains composed and schools her on how little she matters to him as a hero and as an enemy. When he confronts Tony Stark, he proves to be the most emotionally stable of the two. Again, he is mocked by Stark, and while he jabs back at him, he does display nuance that he cannot be so easily insulted or baited into an argument. He makes every hero he comes across as a bratty child, in comparison.
I don't have time for whatever petty grudge you're holding against me, Doom.
I would have had the genetic key sooner, but you chose to destroy my scanner like an angry child.
Smash! Oh, yes, I forgot. A very left-brain personality. Well, let me put this in little bitty words for you.
Dr. Doom is just in a league of his own, but that does not discredit all the heroes. In fact, some of them figure out part of his scheme.
Dr. Doom has nothing to gain by attacking us here. This reeks of desperation, something he is not known for.
Why is Victor attacking now? Especially with 2 Avengers here.
Because he hates you.
He has a reason for everything he does. Reed Richards and T'Challa both realize that his plan to send the Doombots to fight them is just a distraction for a much bigger plot, since it is so out of character for Doom to simply attack his enemies without any reason or provoking him. His attacks on the Four in the private war of Dr. Doom don't immediately make sense to the heroes.
Didn't he shoot the Baxter building into space once?
Yes, he did, but he had a reason. Just like he has a reason for doing this.
I love how even with the context of his hatred for them and jealousy towards Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards points out that even sending the Baxter building into space was done for a specific reason. Doom is shown to have an arsenal of powers, technology, magic, and strategies. He even defeats the Hulk. This is not just some fan fiction. This is Doom being a self-made man who has dedicated his mind, body, and soul to being the best. And despite his arrogant boasting, he has been proven time and again that he is indeed the best. He's basically if Batman was a villain, okay? Another scene in the private war of Dr. Doom is this part right here, where it displays his competency very well.
He's now retreating out of Latvian airspace.
I just love how this version of Dr. Doom is so intelligent and so competent that not even Tony Stark's cloaking technology is able to evade his attention.
Take it!
Here's a tip. Putting on a skirt over your second-rate Iron Man armor? Not helping.
You can't win this. I'm going to give you one chance here. Surrender.
Doom does not surrender.
Doom does not surrender is the line that made me a Dr. Doom fan. In this amazing action sequence, Dr. Doom single-handedly takes on the combined might of the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and the Hulk. It is so impressive because we have seen the capabilities of each of these great heroes throughout the show, and they are treated by him like they are just children. The whole time Doom is defending himself, with the heroes being the attackers, or invaders as he would call them. Sure, the scene can be seen as kind of wish fulfillment. Yes, Doom KO'd the Incredible Hulk, the strongest Avenger, but come on, get over it. but I feel this is a tribute to the Doom of the comics, that it is powerful enough and capable of defeating any hero he comes across, but chooses not to. Every hero in this scene is spared by Doom, and had he desired to kill them, he would have killed them all.
Somebody blast him!
Instead, he does this.
You are trespassing on Latverian soil. Leave. Now.
Why, Victor? What did you even want?
You do not even see what is happening here.
But this isn't over.
I agree.
Lex Lang delivers one of the best voices for Doom I've ever heard. With metallic echo, this became the definite voice for Doom in my mind, with the correct level of deepness and presence that a king's voice should have.
Doom knew he was beat.
Somebody blast him!
By the end of the episode, they are all still in the dark, although Richards believes Doom got what he wanted in the end anyway. It turns out, he did. This is proven true when it is revealed that the women he kidnapped were in fact shape-shifting aliens called Skrulls. Despite all the most intelligent men and women in the show, Doom is the only individual to have not only figured out the Skrull invasion, but create the tool needed to reveal them. So after all these years, Doom may have finally proven that he really is smarter than Reed Richards. Funny. One of my favorite aspects of this episode is when the Doom bots take the form of bombs that can wipe out half a city. Doom does this as a distraction, but it shows that he can casually cause this sort of devastation that most villains would dream of, as a distraction, but doesn't purely because most of the time he has no reason to do so. He is no common villain after all.
They're jamming my communications. Shield!
I just love that he wins. He already has what he wants without the heroes even realizing what he has achieved, and he doesn't even need to brag about it to them. Dr. Doom has already had 2 live-action portrayals in 2 Fantastic Four movies, and to say they were unsatisfying portrayals would be an understatement.
Victor, don't do this!
There is no Victor. There is only Doom.
Richards, allow me to begin your lesson. After all, we're both doctors.
You serious?
I'm not gonna lie and say Dr. Doom has never been portrayed as petty or childish. But like every Marvel character, he has been written and reimagined by many authors. But for me, the best version of Doom is the complex version where he is a man who wants to save the world through any means necessary, and he is so superior to others that he does not have time to bring himself down to their level to explain himself or his actions. There is a reason why so many Marvel fans consider him to be the best villain in Marvel, and while it may be because we have seen him all across this mythos, it is also because they have seen him as the complicated man that was born as a poor gypsy and rose up to be a king through sheer will alone. I am not just a blind fan of everything Doom. There have been many portrayals of him that I just disliked, and yet there have been so many more that I absolutely loved. My second favorite portrayal of Doom that explores his tragic backstory most excellently while adding to his legend would be in Ed Brubaker's comic book run titled The Books of Doom. With the addition of Pablo Ramondi's artwork, this is one of the most epic stories ever told for a fictional character, let alone a comic book villain. Filled with nuance and depth, so much that it is engrossing. This is not just another comic book to me. This feels like a real piece of literature on the same level as the Greek tragedies, and is another reason why I so badly want to see this character done justice in cinema. If you have not already read this book, I strongly recommend it, but just remember, there is a reason why this story is sold out in physical media.
Dr. Doom does not fail.
Lastly, this version of Doom is a multi-dimensional character who is neither a conventional anti-hero or villain. He does commit villainous acts, but he does it for the best interests of the world and humanity, despite it being so that he can be the sole ruler of the Earth. He helps Tony Stark, he allows the heroes to leave his castle without any further hostility. It would be inaccurate to call Doom pretentious, as that would imply that Doom's legend is not as great as his ego would imply, and it is. However, Doom still undeniably enjoys being the pinnacle of knowledge and power that he knows he is, which is why he's still one of my favorite villains ever.
My power is without limit. I can turn day to blackest night, summer to winter. But I am above all a reasonable man. Thus I have granted your leaders 1 week to surrender to the rule of Doom, or suffer total annihilation.
No doubt, Doom is a villain, but he's got some style.
I would like a word with you, Stark.
Tell me in the comments if that's not the most epic pose you've ever seen. After this revelation, you would assume he will do the bad guy thing and keep the information for himself. Instead, he subverts expectations by coming to Iron Man with this information.
None can lay hands on Doom. I know what you've been doing here, Stark. Working on your little toy, searching for the Skrulls hidden among us.
What do you know about the Skrulls?
That which you do not, Avenger.
Funny enough, Doom and Iron Man have worked together multiple times in the comics, which makes this interaction between them very, very interesting, but also kind of nostalgic.
You're here to help me? Out of the goodness of your heart?
No. This world is mine to rule, and mine alone. These reptiles may not have it. This has been designed to work in conjunction with your detection device.
I don't know why, but the way he moved right there was just so cool. You have to admire the writer's restraint with Doom's character here, that he's not completely out of character, that he's willing to help, but he still has his own plans for world domination, so he's not straying too far off from his character as we know him in the comics.
It will allow you to perform a genetic reset on the Skrulls, exposing their true forms.
You couldn't do it alone, could you? You needed my tech to make your little key work.
Doom needs no one.
You gonna fight them with me?
That would be beneath me. Such chores are what people like you are for.
Did he say?
Like so many other fans, I really want to see Dr. Doom portrayed in the next phase of the Marvel movies. But I don't just want any version of Dr. Doom portrayed in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. No, I want this version of Dr. Doom portrayed. The cool, calculating, intelligent, confident, doesn't take any BS from the heroes type of Dr. Doom. That is who I want.
We happy? Vincent? We happy?
Yeah, we happy.
I now possess the power to end hunger, to abolish disease, to eliminate crime, to establish a perfectly content, perfectly ordered world, all under the benevolence of my iron will.
As a Dr. Doom fan, I am willing to wait as long as it takes until we get an excellent portrayal of the character, one that we deserve and one that Victor Von Doom deserves, which is perfection. If the MCU Doom can be made this good, then we will forget about all the many, many mistakes of the past. If another season of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes could be made, my hopes would be for Dr. Doom to play a much larger role as an antagonist, not just against the Fantastic Four, but against the entire Marvel Universe. Whenever I tell my friends I want Dr. Doom done right, this is the example that I stand behind. The example that I know, if done in live action, would leave the audience with a newfound respect for the man named Doom.
Bereft of their interference, I'm free to bring much-needed peace and order